we were gonna go with this today, but we're gonna go somewhere. It's a lot of things it's a lot of things on mine. I won't say on my mind. It's a lot of things on mine because we all have a mind. And through mind, we're able to tap into many places. We're able to visit many realms. Whether it's things experienced or things to be experienced. Let's say it like that. But transformation has a ripple effect. I say that because when we're too concerned with getting too attached, or when we get over concerned in how we attach to anything at all, in fear of if it would disappear, I'll say that. You have to wonder, do you ever get to live? Because I feel like we never get to live when we live in fear of not feeling. Whatever the purpose may be. And mindsets has a lot to do with it. Mind states have a lot to do with it. Program mindsets, program mind states. You know, if you ain't reprogrammed everything you've been taught, it's work to do. You hear me? If we haven't reprogrammed everything we've been taught, it's still work to do. If we haven't tore down, tear the building down, ball and hammer, wrecking ball, everything that we was raised up with, and reconstructed it, man, it's a lot of work to do. That's you know, for those that get it, those mindsets, those mind states, those programs are the very things that later on become our devils in a lot of cases, because later on, as we start to grow into our own, a lot of things that's inherently, meaning already there, a lot of things that's already in us go to contradicting to the things that we saw, to the things that we heard, to the things that we was programmed into, because we got to go through the stages from infancy through pubescent, you know, to teenager until adult. And a lot of changes happen in those progresses. As I said in the previous video, first grade don't feel like second grade. You know, and everybody that was with you in first grade, maybe only be a few. The class in first grade won't be your class in second grade. It may just be a few. Just a few of us, you hear me? Stillness in abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness in abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness in abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Like I say, I don't know where we're going to go. It's a lot of things on my mind, but I'm going to try to keep it stable and contained. Salute to the Cosmic Consciousness family and Soul Tribe. Salute to the new subscribers. Salute to the peekaboos and passerbys, you hear me? Ain't never no telling who gonna come through, so ain't never no telling who I'm gonna be talking to. But Cosmic Consciousness is like a constellation. And every constellation consists of many stars. So if you're here, it's an honor to have you, because in this star system, everybody get to shine, you hear me? My name is Sawu. I ain't always been in touch with myself, and I'm gonna speak for the many as I speak for oneself. I ain't always been in touch with myself as I thought I was, and I definitely wasn't in touch with myself to the point that I am today. But I am today. I say that because the internet, man. The internet. We gotta be careful. Don't let social media trick you by what you see. And if you what you be, and if you what you be, according to how you see, on some higher vibratory frequency, then you won't get tricked. But I have a total different view. I have a total different view about many things I once lived strongly about, you know, and all of us could say this according to something, maybe even someone or someplace, but I have a total different view about things I once felt strongly about. Things I I was willing to go to war about, you know, people, places, and things. But ignorance is bliss. We heard it before, you know, but I found myself marinating in that that statement, in that proverb, in that insight. Ignorance is bliss, and really playing with it and applying it and throwing it around in correspondence to different things in my life at different points of time. You hear me? Ignorance is bliss until you see ignorance for what it is. And that was my summation. That was my final conclusion to the travels that I took, just based off that word. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. It's like a moth to a flame, you know. And how a moth is attracted to the flame. And mindlessness, if it's not paying attention to what it's doing, it'll be so attracted to what the flame, whatever the flame does to it, to it allow itself to be consumed by the flame. But we don't want to be consumed by the flame. You know, we want to be at one with it. You know, so this ain't no time for ignorance to be bliss in our lives. If we growing up, if we maturing, if we becoming better than we never been, it's time for us to see ignorance for what it is. I say that because I come from an era where I don't know if in the time that I was coming up, I don't know if matter of fact, I know it's not, but in some places it does. You know, those who move under that patriarchic, that unbalanced patriarchic and patriarchic system and frequency. But I come from an era where males wasn't meant to. Males wasn't supposed to show their emotions, you know. And I also come from an era where, by the grace of God, I don't know how, you know, I didn't let a lot of shit distort my mind, regardless of how I was affected by it, you know. At least long enough till I got old enough where I could do what I wanted to do. I know what I wanted to do. I ain't know how I was gonna get there. And nothing couldn't tell me different. But I grew up in a time where man wasn't supposed to basically feel, you know. And in this hindsight that I'm sharing with y'all, because it did get me to some extent. I'll be lying if I say it didn't, you know. It had me dysfunctional in a lot of ways. I'd be lying if I said I didn't, you know. But that's what makes Sawu Sawu. I could be raw. I could be raw with anybody who in my presence, you know. And I take pleasure in being in public who I am in private. A lot of people can't do that. You hear me? We gotta learn how to pay attention. You hear me? And as we go on throughout this year, a lot of people we gonna find that out about a lot of people. Who they are in private is not who they is in public. So if who we are in public is not who we are in private, something wrong. You know, what's in the dark must come to the light. So a lot of people gonna be exposed in 2024. You hear me? Spiritual community, regular community, no community at all. You hear me? But as a child, I was able to recognize that all I had was my feelings. My feelings was my processing center. My feelings what made the world make sense to me. even if I ain't had nobody to share them with. And for a long time, I did. You know, I couldn't share the deeper things that was really going on with me. I was a stuffer for a long time, y'all. Man, if you've been around long enough, you heard me say that before. I was a stuffer for a long time, meaning that I never expressed my feelings. I just kept everything bottled up, and that caused a dysfunction. You know, we need to learn how to feel. We need to learn how to express ourselves, because a lot of what we seeing going on in our community, especially with the youth, my heart go out so much to the youth, because I know, without even having to know, what's behind what they're going through, what's behind why the youth acting out the way they is, what's behind why the youth so rebellious. Feelings. You know, it's one thing to feel this, it's a whole nother thing to know how to feel what you feeling. And we're not taught how to feel what we feeling. We're not taught how to feel what we feeling. I was led to repeat that. But as a child, regardless of what I was taught, I was able to recognize that all I do is feel, and that's how I make my world up. That's how I make sense of the world that I was in. So with that, I'm saying imagination is what gave birth to what we call imagination, and imagination is a terrible thing to have dumbed down, because then there's nowhere for that energy to go and be constructive. And when there's nowhere for that energy to go and be constructive, usually it turns its face. It becomes destructive. You know, thanks to hip hop, thanks to music, thanks to art, thanks to graffiti. You know, those was my outlets. But as a child, and anybody who come across this video has been a child, you know. And as child, we know that all we do is feel. So it don't matter whether you male or female, because females grew up under, I know females that grew up under that same patriarch type system too, you know, where they have to suppress their emotions, you know. And I think that's the biggest, in hindsight, it's a hindsight I'm sharing, but I think that's the biggest crime against any human being, is to suppress what we feel, and to be taught to suppress what we feel, you know, because there ain't no telling what it might turn into, what monster it might turn into. Some of us don't been monsters. I'm talking to some monsters out there that don't turn the new leaf over. I know I am, you hear me? You hear me? But yeah, it's fundamental. Y'all see the disconnect that I'm speaking to, because all we know how to do is feel. I want to say it again. All we know how to do is see through what we feel. All we know how to do is express through what we feel. But how can you do that when you don't know how to feel what you feeling? That's just one example of many distorted. And actually, I put a few into one example, but that's just an example of the many distorted things, the many distorted teachings that stagnate and have us fucked up. You know, I don't usually curse, but when I do, y'all know it's necessary. And I don't curse because I'm trying to. I don't use curse words because I know how to use words. So curse words are fillers to me. But when I use a deletive or an explicit word, it has its purpose in what I'm saying. But it's through those type of teachings that we were stagnated, we was retarded in some situations, in some cases. And I use that word retarded because anything that stuns your growth, anytime growth is stunted or growth is set back or set off, then a retardation occurs, you know. So we got a lot of retarded people looking like they normal. Let me just be the one to say it, you hear me? But y'all know what I'm saying is true about what we see happen in the world with so-called normal people. You hear me? But yeah, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physical development. And then sometimes these things passed on because everything is energy. Everything is energy. And even in my awareness, I have to remember to be mindful that everything is energy. Otherwise, we'll get caught up in the appearance of things. You hear me? That's why soul ascension is so important. That's why soul ascension is so popular. That's why spirituality is so popular and so important. You know, but it gotta be for the right reason, or you'll just have a spiritual face, being the same old devil that you've been. You hear me? But it's important. It is important, and it is trending because there's a lot of damaged people on the planet. You hear me? There's a lot of damaged people on the planet. I was one of them. That's why I'm able to talk to it. I take pleasure in being able to talk to it. I was one of them, so I recognize them when I see them. You hear me? I'm not better than nobody, but I'm better than I never been. You know? And nobody definitely better than you. You're not better than nobody, but be better than you never been. But nobody not better than you. That's important. I say that because I use words to sow seeds of transformation by revealing different aspects, different places, different timelines of my own. You hear me? I'm just an example. And it just so happened, and when you've been an example, that it helps others. We're always gonna have our unbelievers. But it's one thing that you can learn from your unbelievers. It's one thing that you can learn from your doubters. Is that the only reason that they're in that place is because they're having a hard time changing. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. Anybody having a hard time changing, you're a threat to them just by trying to be better than you never been. And that's okay, you hear me? That's okay, because we need initiators, we need communicators, we need builders, we need custodians of change, we need nurturers, we need manifestors. We need it all. Everybody play a part, you hear me? And my way ain't for everybody. It's just one of the ways that I get what I came here to do done. You heard? Watch your attachments like you watch yourself. I'm gonna say it again. Watch your attachments like you watch yourself. And if your attachments be around you, you gotta watch your attachments too. You hear me? And that's important because people in our lives represent mindsets. We reflecting off the opening. People in our minds represent mindsets. Mind states in our life. And when you becoming whole, and you're aware of your fractures, you gotta be careful of how you deal with people that's still in the fracture, because people in our lives represent mindsets in our lives. And those mindsets represent energy. Those mindsets represent archetypes. We're going into the metaphysical. This what the metaphysical Bible dictionary that I use for those who been around. This the purpose of what the metaphysical Bible dictionary bring to the table, as far as consciousness and consciousness as energy. You hear me? And remember, as we get rid of one devil, another appear. But as you get rid of your devil, there's nothing to fear. And when I use the word devil, I'm not talking about nothing outside of us. Because the people that we entertain and the relationships that we entertain through the people that we entertain represent ourselves, our reflection of ourselves. You hear me? But in some cases, it can be an external. You hear me? But we unpeeling mindsets, family, to establish better ones. And sometimes to see the forest, we gotta walk through the trees. You know? Follow your higher guidance. Follow your higher guidance. And recognize the distractions. Transformation has a ripple effect. Transformation has a ripple effect. I'm thinking about an emoji for the next video. Transformation has a ripple effect. These hands, I don't know what they is. I use them. It could be a football goal. I use them. These hands, whatever these hands mean. These hands sending love and light, health and wholeness. We're gonna use the hand emoji like this here. You hear me? I don't know what you call it, but if you're watching the video, then you'll know what to put up. You hear me? As always, thanks to the Cosmic Consciousness Soul Control family and Soul Tribe. I appreciate y'all. You hear me? New subscribers, I appreciate y'all. Peekaboos and passerbys, I appreciate y'all. You hear me? Watch the video, place the emoji in the comment section. You must be a scribe. You gotta place the hands up. As simple as that to be submitted for the end of the month raffle. Feel good to feel good for no reason at all. Feeling good is feeling God. You hear me? Enjoy the rest of your night, you know. Stillness, abundance, love, and light, health, and wholeness. Thanks for the likes, shares, subscribers, thumbs up, thumbs down, love offerings, donations. Peace and favor be upon everybody. You know, may all your contributions return 100-fold, whether that's energetically or materialistically, whatever the case may be. I love y'all, family. Salud.